So welcome back everybody. In this episode, we're going to be reviewing the DNT Optics Thermal. This is the Hydra HS635. This is a 640 resolution thermal, scope, monocular, or clip-on. We're going to cover all that in this episode at an excellent price point. All right, so we've got a lot to cover. I promised this episode was coming. This is the full review of the HS635. Let's dive right into it. All right, so if we come out here in some better light, we can take a quick look at the front. Again, flip up lens cap covers, adjustable focus, adjustable eyepiece. This is removable, so if you want to put this right in front of a rifle scope and use it as a clip-on, you can. Actually, I prefer to leave this rubber eyepiece on because my rifle scope will actually stick in here. I don't see that it blocks it at all, and this acts as a dust cover. Here's where you put your single battery. And here is the buttons right here. Menu in the middle, you can press and hold this for different functions. By the way, if you're gonna clip this on in front of a rifle scope like you're gonna see, the menu is kind of off to the side in the display and you can't see the full menu. If you tap the menu button again, once the menu's up, it centers the menu in the screen, which is an excellent feature, and I didn't realize this had it, just discovered it, for moving the menu over so you can see it through a rifle scope without detaching this. For sighting in, for example, in front of a rifle scope. Here is your record button. You can press and hold to do your recording. This is your zoom button. Again, 1.5 to 6 power digital zoom. Your power off and on. And then these buttons will also go up and down in the menu. Very straightforward. On the side, you can pull all your images and video off with a USB-C cable. My favorite things about this is how compact and lightweight it is. I found that I prefer thermals more for a monocular and looking around, especially when I'm driving around our property on a Ranger or anything like that. You obviously don't want to hang your rifle out. And if you can't afford two thermals, completely understand that. I love the clip-on feature. And I have found with my other thermal, this American Defense manufacturing mount is so precise that I can take it off and on my rifle scope and still hold zero. So I like to ride around using this as the monocular portion. And then again, you can clip right on your rifle and use this as the rifle scope itself, or in the menu you've got the option to completely take the reticle out of the picture if you just want to use your rifle scope's reticle if you want to do this as a clip-on in front of a rifle scope. So it's worth noting I purchased the extra ADM, that's American Defense Manufacturing clip-on mount. That does not come with that. If you want this to be quick removable, I do, because this works so well as a monocular. In the box, it's going to come with a standard permanent mount, and this actually has a little bit more of elevation, which is preferred if you're going to put this in front of a rifle scope. I'll show you that here in just a minute. All right, so if we start going through the menu, there is a lot of options in here. We won't go over everything. You can look up a lot of these specs online if you're interested in it. I know you want to see it in action, so we're going to cover a lot of that in this episode. But as we fly through the menu, not only can you change like color palettes, your different types of reticles. That's pretty standard and typical across a lot of these thermals. But you see you got clip-on modes, your connection modes, clip-on zeroing. You've got different zeroing functions, so you can put like an A, B, C, or D if you want to move this from rifle scope or different positions and have different zero settings. Recoil activated recording, that's important for some people. This does do internal recording. Image super resolution, you can turn that off or on. I recommend turning that on. And what this does is it cleans up the pixels. So I've showed this in other episodes as well, but if you start zooming in, you know, especially on the lower resolution thermals, this one's pretty high resolution, but you'll see at a zoomed in distance, you're kind of pixelated. You turn that super resolution on and it kind of washes over, smooths the pixels out, and gives you an even cleaner picture. Then you've got all your thermal imaging settings. Again, your color palettes. You can just change just about anything you want to hear from your brightness. That's going to be important for people. Some people like hotspot tracking. You can turn all that kind of stuff on in here as well. Then you've got all your function settings, your gyroscope, which I like having on screen. Again, your brightness. This does record audio, something my AGM Rattler does not. So speaking of battery life, on a single 18650 battery like this, I have got 4 hours of continuous runtime on this scope. That's without powering it off at all. So you could hunt all night long if you're going to turn the scope off and on. If you're just going to turn it on and leave it running, just bring you 2 of these rechargeable batteries, 1 in the scope, 1 spare, and you can hunt for up to 8 hours on rechargeable batteries. This has excellent runtime in my opinion. And again, here's all those zeroing profiles where you can go in and adjust your XY axis. I've also shown this in some other videos as well. Super easy to sight this in. You can literally do it in like 1 to 2 shots, because you take a shot at a particular target, keep your rifle still, and then just go in here and move these functions over, your XY functions, to the crosshair touches the bullet hole that you just shot, and you're technically zeroed in. Unbelievably fast. Now, warranty is a big thing that people look at whenever it comes to thermals. I just jumped on their website. They're now showing a 3-year standard warranty with this, and you can apply for an extended warranty up to 5 years if you would like that. So go read the specs on their website. By the way, I'm gonna have links down in the description to where you can go check these scopes out for current pricing. Now, they have seen a recent tariff price increase. That's out of all of our control. They are still a bargain. This scope now is only just a couple $100 more than what I bought my AGM Rattler 384 resolution for years ago. All right, so here is a budget build AR platform that I did. By the way, no magazine in it, nothing in the chamber. So all you've got to do, again, most people are going to remove the rubber eyepiece, but I find that it slides right over the front of my rifle scope. I like that, so now I don't have to put my lens cover back down. It acts as like dust protection. Just clamp this on. Then all you have to do is look through the rifle scope and move the crosshairs inside here with those X and Y axes that I done showed you. Zero the crosshairs of this up to this is what I did, and works perfectly fine. Now, if you don't have a daytime scope on this rifle, you'll just repeat the steps. You'll mount this back here, move your XY axis after you shoot. Wherever the bullet hole is, leave your rifle still, move the XY over to the bullet hole, and you're technically sighted in with one shot. Saves on a lot of ammo. I really like that feature. Now, you're gonna notice with this American Defense manufacturing mount, it sits slightly lower than this rifle scope. The mount that this comes with, the permanent mount, actually lifts this up perfectly in front of the scope. But even with the slight drop, it does not matter. I'm finding that I'm able to use this perfectly fine. And don't forget about the function, the menu. Tap it once again after you've pressed and hold and turned the menu on. The menu goes to the center of the screen so you can actually see it through a rifle scope. Again, this is already sighted in my daytime scope. All I did was move the crosshairs here to the center of it, or you can go in the menu function, turn the crosshairs completely off. That's another function that you can do, because I find that through the illuminated screen, I can still see the crosshairs on this. Plus, this has an illuminated reticle, so I can use vice versa, one or the other, or I can put them both in front of each other. That's up to you to decide how you want to set up your reticles. All right, so let's take a look at some footage that I recorded for this video. So those deer are about 275, close to 300 yards in the backside of my field, and they come in quite clear. Now, obviously, as we zoom in, things are going to be a little grainy. That's just the way this works, but you're going to get your ultimate resolution at 1.5 power. Don't forget, this goes 1.5 to 6. Here I am maxed out at 6 power, and you can see I'm playing around with the focus, just trying to get things dialed in right here. But even at almost 300 yards, you can make a shot on an animal that size. But look at how clean and clear this gets at 1.5 power. By the way, this is handheld, it's not on a rifle scope. There's Ruger doing what he's doing, what dogs do, leaving some stuff in the yard, but I wanted to show y'all. You can see even his footprints as he walks off here. Up close, see, check that out. See the footprints he's leaving? That's just his heat signature. But look at how unbelievably clear this is. This is a 640 resolution, y'all. Watch when I go to black hot here, you can actually see individual hairs on the dog. Now look, he notices something's out in the woods. Sure enough, I zoomed in. There is a rabbit out there. He noticed it, even though it's dark. Now you're gonna notice it says 9:09 a.m. up there. I forgot to change the time on this. This is actually after 9 o'clock at night, so pitch black dark. That rabbit's about 75, 80 yards. And you could easily make a shot on that. I'm not fully zoomed in yet. So there is 6 power right there. Can for sure make a shot, but look how clean everything is on 1.5 power. Here's some of the color palettes. I prefer white hot for scanning, makes things pop, but you can also go to black hot for extra crisp, clear lines on animals. I'll show some of that here again in just a second. So there's that rabbit once more. There's Ruger up close. Again, I want to let y'all know this is not on a rifle. This is in my hand, so things are nice and safe. But look, you could see all the individual hairs. So you can see how clean he is. And then I zoom back out to the deer that are roughly 275 yards away. This is amazing, especially for the price point that it's at. So let's take a look at something small. Here is our little dog right here. He's about, roughly 11 pounds. It'll give you an idea on an animal that size. Again, just unbelievably crisp, clear lines. This is what you should expect from a 640 resolution scope. I've did some 256s, and I personally own a 384, and there's just no comparison. This 640 is amazing, especially up close like this, which is a lot of what I use one of these for little varmint hunting. All right, so let's go back out. Look at how clean this is. Those deer are roughly 125 yards away, maybe a little further than that now that I can remember where they are. So clean. So, and we're going to do some zooming in here in a second, but I really like the 1.5 power on this scope. So you can see I'm playing around with the focus again, just trying to get it perfect for you. That's me doing that by hand. See the gyroscope on the left-hand side? I like that. That allows you to keep your scope nice and level if you want to use the crosshairs. You can see I've removed the reticles here for this particular recording. There's a lot of different styles of them built into this unit. So now we're zooming in. There's 2.25 power, 3 power, 4.5 power, and we're going to go on up to 6. You could easily, and I mean easily, make a shot that far on an animal this size. You could do it on 1.5 power, honestly. All right, so let's go on over here. Zoom, okay, there's the 6 power I was looking for. I mean, you could see that the ears, everything you would ever want to see on an animal this size. Going back through the color palettes for you. Again, white hot for scanning. Look how good that is. This is why I really like the 1.5 power. Plus, look at how big the field of view is. So let's do some range testing here. This is me, again, not on a rifle. This is just sitting on the counter, just handheld, 50 yards, no zoom. That's what's gonna get you your clearest picture and what I prefer, your widest field of view, which is really good for scanning around. I brought my dog with me so you can see maybe what a coyote-sized animal looks like. There's us at 100 yards. We'll continue to walk off. I think we're heading toward 150 yards. You could easily shoot out to, I would say, 300 yards with no zoom. Don't forget, you can also do a picture-in-picture on this scope as well. I don't have it turned on right now, but you can have a zoom up top and then your big picture, no zoom. Now I'm zoomed in 3 power. That's why it gets a little grainier. That's normal, 200 yards. Now I'm heading on back to 300 yards, 3 power. I probably should be focused in a little better right here. So 300 yard shot. I could easily go on back to 500 yards and you could identify me no problem with a scope of this caliber. All right, so final thoughts. I think this is a bargain if you're looking for a 640 resolution rifle scope. Don't forget they got a 256 resolution that's well under $1,000 and is the only 256 I've tested thus far that I'll recommend. Typically those are poor resolution, but that one actually does really well. They got a 384 resolution in the middle, which I have not tested yet, which is just going to improve over the 256. And then the ultimate one that you can get your hands on, the 640. Again, go shop around and you'll see how much of a bargain this particular scope is. So again, whether you're using it as a binocular, love it for that. As a clip-on in front of a rifle scope, excellent choice as well, so you can have you a day and nighttime setup, or just using it as a rifle scope alone without a day optic. It works perfect for that. Thus far, I've been absolutely blown away with the Hydra series that I've been testing from DNT, and again, the price point is fantastic. Compared to the 384 resolution AGM Rattler that I bought, if I had known about this back at the time, this is the one that I would have spent my money on. All right, links are down in the description if you want to go check out whatever the current pricing is. I don't know when you're watching this, things will fluctuate and change. And I'll also pin a comment with that down below as well if you want to go check these out. Huge shout out and thank you to DNT for sending out this Hydra and allowing me to test it along with some other models. I love doing this type of content. If you enjoy it, give me a thumbs up, drop me a comment, and let me know what else you would like for me to test in the future. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.